tonight's Creepy Time Theatre presentation of Night of the Robot.
Hurry, Gary! The scary robot movie's on! What do you mean I shouldn't watch this? Scary movies don't always freak me out.
Evil robots are no stranger to fictional stories. As you're well aware by now, the concept of robots taking over society continues to get closer and closer to reality as the days go by. The reality of the situation might not be as grim as entertainment has you to believe, but there's some truth in what these stories have to say. Generative AI is the newest piece of technology that companies around the world are trying to get a handle on. Today's video isn't a lesson on how generative AI works, but rather an analysis of the impact that it's had on the current media landscape. We'll be looking at 3 examples of generative AI used in the media landscape of today. We'll analyze the performance of these 3 pieces and determine the impact that they've had on the industry. Starting today's video, we have a little 2023 indie horror movie called Late Night with the Devil. The film follows a fictional 1977 late-night talk show called Night Owls as they record an especially spooky broadcast on Halloween night. The movie is full of scares and uncomfortable occurrences, but the most terrifying aspect of the movie, for most, seems to be the use of AI in the film. Multiple times within the story, the crew cuts to commercial break, just like any ordinary talk show. At this point, the movie presents a graphic to segue from the show to the break. These graphics were generated by AI, of course, that's why it's in the video, and there are 3 in total. We've got a group of skeletons, an owl on a TV, and an owl pumpkin thing. Look, I'm not really sure what that one is. These graphics are often what the public focuses on when talking about this movie. They stand out like a sore thumb. Every time they showed up, I was instantly taken out of the experience. These don't look like the types of graphics that you would normally see during that time. AI used in this manner is an incredibly new application of technology. Featuring it here in all of its, well, glory, is out of place in an otherwise fantastically authentic 70s theme. I'll be discussing this movie's impact later in the video, but for now, let's introduce the rest of the list. Next up is a new A24 film titled Civil War that came out during the April of this year. To advertise the movie, the company made these posters to place in front of theaters and to post online. The reason these are featured in the video is all thanks to these images being made using generative AI. It's especially obvious when you look at this car having 3 doors, these marina towers not being geographically accurate, and whatever this swan boat looking thing is supposed to be. And why do these soldiers appear to be shooting it down? I couldn't tell you. From what I've gathered, the scenes in these posters don't show up in the movie at all, leading to audiences complaining about false advertising. In addition, the implications of these posters are a little frightening, since these posters are supposed to depict real locations, New York City and Chicago by the looks of things. News outlets could easily take generated images like these and use them to scare the public. When I asked Nicole Trimble, a professor from the University of Cincinnati, about these posters, she said that you have to have a high amount of media literacy to spot fakes in these posters. People who don't know the signs of image generation could see these images and believe they're real, leading to a lot of unnecessary panic. This will become more and more common as time goes on. On that unsettling note, it's time to reveal the next example. This one's a lot more widely known than the other 2. Marvel Studios' Secret Invasion is known for its opening being made completely out of AI imagery. The show follows Nick Fury, a fan-favorite character from the Marvel series, played by beloved actor Samuel L. Jackson, as he attempts to stop an alien invasion. These aliens are shapeshifters, meaning they are disguising themselves as everyday people during their pursuit to take over the Earth. The use of AI mimicking human artwork is supposed to simulate the aliens imitating human behaviors. That being said, this is a Disney property we're talking about here. They've got the budget to hire real artists who can achieve this effect in a much more creative way. When asking Matt Bennett, another University of Cincinnati digital media professor, his reaction to this intro was that it doesn't indicate anything that couldn't be done by hand. It doesn't make any sense to him that Disney wouldn't create the animation themselves, because what we have here doesn't do anything special. The use of AI in this intro appears to be more of a shortcut rather than a design choice, and this is reflected in the public opinion of the show, which is our next topic of discussion. The public was not a fan of the direction that Secret Invasion ended up going with. The show sits at the 2nd lowest performing Disney Plus original Marvel Studios show, only above Mrs. Marvel. On top of that, it also has the lowest review scores out of any of the modern Marvel Cinematic Universe shows. Was the AI animated intro to blame? Personally, I don't think that's the only cause of the show's downfall. People have complained about the show's slow pace and the disappointing implementation of the premise. This intro may not have been the sole reason for the flop, but it certainly doesn't help its case. Taking a look at the other two movies' numbers, there's no evidence of the use of AI negatively impacting the success of these films. Late Night with the Devil was the best opening weekend for an IFC Films release. It ended up making $15.4 million, falling right in line with IFC's other more popular films. Civil War was the same way. The movie faced the same amount of success that the other A24 films faced. Its worldwide box office results were in a very similar manner to A24's most successful projects. So that means Secret Invasion is the only property we've looked at today that had repercussions for using generative AI as part of its visuals. The other two movies experiencing regular numbers proves that the future of digital media is a lot more AI forward than the other way around. All of this discussion begs the question, when is it okay to use generative AI in today's digital media landscape? Judging on the backlash that all three of these movies received, and the conversation I had with Nicole Trimble, generating an image and using it should be avoided. Companies favoring these machines to output art are basically saying that paying artists aren't a priority in filmmaking. It's clear that in productions with huge budgets and big-name actors like Secret Invasion, that the studio believes that the actors are more valuable than the various artists working on these projects. This isn't to say that all generative AI is bad, however. Working with elements that you've already constructed is at the foundation of every positive use case of this technology. Large data sets and layout rearranging are phenomenal uses of the tool, since it provides a massive time save or allows you to view your work at a new angle. Adobe's Creative Cloud is constantly receiving updates building on generative AI, turning the technology into a way to enhance assets that you've already made rather than doing all your work for you. So what can be done about the rise of generative AI? To answer this question, I'd like to leave off with Matt Bennett's thoughts on the matter. Whether generative AI imagery in media is acceptable or not, it's out there. We can't stop it from being utilized by producers around the world. But we as consumers can inform the higher-ups about our opinion of the technology by choosing to support them or go the other way. Thinking about what Matt Bennett said, any boycotts or backlash that comes from the community should absolutely be encouraged if we want producers to stop. On the other hand, smart use cases of generative AI will be encouraged by higher turnout that comes with the studio's ability to make previously impossible techniques able to be done. So no matter where we fall, the future of AI-generated content in media is ultimately determined by the reactions of the consumer. If it works and it's successful for them, producers are just gonna keep using it. But if it doesn't, then they'll back off. Well, that was all I was able to find. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this whole thing, so feel free to leave your opinions and takes in the comments below. There's a no judgment zone. I don't care where you are on this, but I think it makes for a good discussion because moving forward, it seems like this is where technology is headed, so it's a good conversation to have, and I wanted to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.